Yo, what is up, guys, and welcome to episode number 7. I know it's been quite a while. I've just been really busy, but things are clearing up now, so gonna get back to making some videos. For today, the video is gonna be, I guess, a little bit more impromptu. I'm just gonna be, showing you some meals, going to the gym, just kind of showing you what I do throughout the day. What I'm doing right now is I'm just getting some steps in, and I was also finishing up some client work at the same time while I'm getting my steps in. And then what I'm going to do from here is go ahead and have meal number 1, which is going to be my pre-workout meal. And then I'm going to go hit legs in about an hour and a half. It's 9 a.m. right now, so that means I'll be training around 10 or 10:30. I finished up the client work. Steps are good right now, so what I'm going to do is go inside and I'm going to show you meal number 1. All right, so meal number 1 right here, super basic. We got 5 ounces of chicken breast, got some rice in there, and then I also added 9 grams of olive oil. So got this from Ventura. This is really good, actually. It was like a specialty olive oil place. So pick this up right here. Again, 9 grams in there. And then I also added this pink sea salt to it. And as far as how much rice is in here, there's 266 grams uncooked, but it's split into 2 meals. So I don't know exactly how much is in here. I just put the 266 grams into the rice cooker, and then I cooked that, and then I basically scooped out like half for this meal, and then the other half is going to be in my post-workout meal. So in the rice cooker right here. And then this is what I'll have after the gym. So that's gonna be meal number 1. I'm gonna eat this right now and then basically just get ready for the gym. Okay, so it is time for the gym now. What I'm gonna have before the gym, or while I'm at the gym, kind of like warming up before I start doing all my working sets, is my intro workout. So it's gonna be 1 scoop of Granite pre-workout. It's also 1 scoop of Granite pump, but I don't have the little bag there. And then it is 53 grams of Gatorade powder. So this comes out to 53 grams of this comes out to 50 carbs. So there's 50 carbs in here, plus pre-workout, plus a pump product. I'm gonna drink this while I'm at the gym. So one of the things that this helps me do is just get in extra carbs throughout the day. My carbs are like almost near 600 on training days. So being able to drink like 50 of them makes things a little bit more manageable. So I'm gonna take this with me to the gym, and then we will see you there.
Decided to go with a voiceover for this workout today. So what I'm starting out with here is the adductor. What I've went over in the past is, you don't have to do this machine if you can squat deep, if you can leg press deep, Smith squat deep, hack squat deep. If you can do all those things with full range of motion where your hamstring is essentially on the back of your calves, it's more than likely that you don't need to do any adductor isolation movements like this. However, if you can do all those things and you notice that your adductors are lagging, then I would say go ahead and throw this in there for sure. And then also, if you can't do all those movements, for example, me, where, I have an injury kind of preventing me from doing that, from going that deep on all those movements, then I would say also go ahead and throw this in there if you want to develop, your inner thigh, your adductor there. What I'm going with here is basically 1 top set, and then because I can do so many reps with the stack, I do a drop set on here, so I include an intensity technique. I'm probably going to buy a gym pin soon, just so I can just increase the weight here rather than introducing it in intensity technique. But I'm gonna kind of play around with that idea. We'll see. For now, the intensity technique is working really good. I'm doing my top set, so I do the stack for as many reps as I can do, and then after that I drop the weight, kind of like a relatively significant amount, and then I just go again for another AMRAP there. And then after that, that is done. That is my, one working set with an intensifier for adductor. Then I go ahead and move on to the next exercise. So after this is where I deem, the real workout to begin. That's when I move to my hamstring movements, my quad movements. On this day right here, I'm doing my legs A variation, which is a quad dominant day. However, I still train hamstrings first. I believe I covered this in another video, but this is something that I got from John Meadows to train the hamstrings first. It makes your quad training feel a lot better, and it just allows you to go a lot harder on your hamstring movements than when you put them at the end of your workouts. So going into my first working set right here, I had a really scary moment. That first rep right there, as soon as I brought it down from the top, so probably like after I moved the weight like 2 or 3 inches, I felt a pop right behind my knee, probably 2 or 3 inches up. So like right on the hamstring, kind of like where the tendon and the muscle meet. And I just felt this pop, and I just had this like overwhelming like sense of dread go through my head. I completed the rep, and I think that was probably just because I get so like hyper focused before my sets. So I completed that rep, and then I went to like do another one, but in my head I was just thinking to myself like, what are you doing? Just because my initial thought was, I think I just tore my hamstring. And then when I kept going on the next rep, I rethought to myself, like, what are you doing? You just tore your hamstring. So I put the weight down. You could see me also like grab for my hamstring there. So yeah, that caused like a ton of anxiety and just like almost like panic, because I was just thinking about all the possibilities for the things that could go wrong in that situation if I were to tear my hamstring. If it was a big enough tear, it could literally be the end of somebody's bodybuilding career in terms of like physique sport. So all those kind of things were running through my head right there. It probably, this was my next exercise after the hamstring curl, and it, I probably didn't get here for another 30 or 40 minutes. I kind of just sat down, was talking back and forth with Heidi, also took a look at my hamstring. There was no bruising, there was no indentation, and I could still flex my hamstring. But I've never torn a muscle before, so I don't really know what it feels like. I can only speak on like experiences from what I've seen from other people when they tear muscles. So I know that, that I didn't have the bruising, and that was good to not have the bruising. And that I could still flex it was also probably good. But I was still incredibly freaked out. So I didn't do, I didn't touch the hamstring curl again. I kind of just like sat around and talked to Heidi, and just went through a lot of scenarios in my head. I kind of just tried to gather myself a little bit and just salvage the rest of the workout essentially. In terms of leg pressing, it really does not involve the hamstrings at all. If I had torn my hamstring, I probably wouldn't have been able to walk, or if I did, it would have been like an extreme limp. So I kind of had that thought in the back of my head that I'm like, it's probably not torn, but I was still super nervous. So I took a while to sit down, and then ultimately I went over to the leg press, felt it out, did a lot of warm-up sets here, and deemed that this wasn't like, I couldn't feel it in my hamstring at all. So I gave myself kind of the green light to go ahead and complete the rest of my workout. So as I'm recording this, it's about 5 days later and my hamstring feels significantly better than it did on the day that this happened. So I think I'm in the clear, but I'm still going to take things very cautiously. So I'm still going to take another full week off doing anything for hamstrings. And then when I do come back to hamstrings, it is going to be, very light work, at least for a couple weeks until I can deem that, it's 100% in the green and ready to go. Pivoting back to my actual workout that I'm doing here, these are my 2 sets of paused leg press. If you've never done paused work for legs, like, paused hack squat or paused leg press, even paused squats, I would highly encourage you to include them, not only for gaining strength, but also for hypertrophy purposes. When your muscle is in the lengthened position and it has a high load exposure, this has been shown to cause, significant hypertrophy, even more so than like anywhere else throughout the movement. So when the muscle is stretched under load, and I think that's where pauses really shine. Granted that you are doing, actual true pauses. And then after my pause sets, I do 2 pause sets, and then I do 1 continuous set. So obviously, as you can see here, some of these reps are not as continuous. The lactic acid that builds up in my legs is just astronomical, and it becomes hard to keep going continuously. Also, controlling your breathing becomes difficult too once you start getting into the very, high rep ranges. So that's something that I'll look to, clean up the next time I do this set here, right? I will look to perform it in a more continuous manner rather than like what you see here is almost like myo rep type, where, I'm doing like 3 or 4 reps, taking 3 or 4 breaths, then doing 3 or 4 reps and repeating that process. But, that's what I'm going to look to improve on the next time I do that specific set. However, in the grand scheme of things, my main goal is just to push myself harder than I did the last time, and just really make sure that my intensity is there. So, even though those weren't the most continuous reps, I'm still very happy with that set. So that was 3 total sets on that Body Masters leg press, 2 pause sets, 1 continuous set, and then I move over here to 2 working sets on the Hammer Strength unilateral leg press. So this leg press is really, really good for quads and for glutes. It just depends on where you put your foot on the pad. So for me, I have my foot on the bottom, and the next time I go in here, I'm actually probably going to move my heel a little bit farther down, so it's actually a little bit off the pad, maybe like 2 inches off the pad, just so I can get even more knee over toe going on there. But if you want to hit glutes on this, move your foot up on the pad and it will really hammer away at your glutes. This machine right here is great for both quads and the glutes. Another thing I want to point out is being in control of the weights that you're using for the duration of your set. Now on the concentric, this isn't as important, right? You should be performing that as quickly as you can in almost every case. However, if you're using weight that is, heavy enough in relation to your 1 rep max, you shouldn't be able to perform the concentric extremely fast, right? Because that would just mean that you can probably do way too many reps with that weight to stimulate hypertrophy in the first place. So that kind of takes care of itself. But the eccentric portion, that is where you really should be in full control of all the weights that you're doing, especially when it comes to hypertrophy.
Yo, what's up guys? I am back from the gym now, so I'm gonna have my second meal, which is gonna be my post-workout meal. It's gonna be pretty much exactly the same thing as my first meal of the day. So I took the rest of the rice that I had in the rice cooker and I put it in here. And then there is 6 ounces of chicken breast. And again, 9 grams of that same olive oil. So I'm gonna put this down, hop in the shower, then I'll head over to Heidi's house. I'll have the rest of my meals over there, and at some point I will put my end of the day macros on the screen. So I'm not gonna put it for the individual meals, but I'll put what my end of the day macros are. All right, what's going on, guys? It's been about 2 hours since I had that last chicken and rice meal, so I'm gonna have my third meal right now, which is going to be 2 servings of that yogurt that I usually use, so 340 grams in here. Then I got 1.5 scoops of the same protein powder that I usually use, 100 grams of blueberries, and 42 grams of white chocolate chips. And I'm going to combine that with 7 chocolate rice cakes. So that's going to be my third meal. And again, like I said in the last little snip, I'm just going to put the total macros for the meals that I eat today at the end of the video. All right, so it's 8:30 right now, or a little bit before then, but it's time for me to get my last meal in, which I'm gonna show you right now. So my fourth and final meal is just gonna be 3 cinnamon raisin bagels, Sara Lee brand, and then I'm going to use 3 servings of this cream cheese right here, which comes out to 93 grams. So that right there is gonna be my last meal. I'm just gonna eat that, and then I'm gonna get ready and just head to bed. I know I said in the beginning that this video was gonna be more like impromptu, spontaneous, you know, kind of showing more of what I was doing throughout the day. But honestly, after that like hamstring incident on the ham curl machine, it kind of just threw my whole day off, threw off my workout as well. Right now, there's no like swelling, there's no bruising, but it is very tender and very tight. So I'm still really nervous. I'm really hoping that it's not a tear. It's definitely not a major tear, but I'm still hoping that it's not like a small tear or anything like that, because that would still be pretty bad. What I'm hoping is that it's just like a strain or a pull. Either way, I'm definitely gonna have to lay off of hamstrings for a little bit until that goes away, because I can still feel it like when I'm walking, like that tightness and stuff like that. When I go to bend down, there's still tightness there. So I'm still really nervous and apprehensive. You know, it's been like 8 hours since then, so it's gonna be kind of hard to tell, but you know, I'll see more in the morning and see how things are going. But you know, hopefully you guys got something out of the video. You know, took you to the gym, showed you what I ate for the day. I'll put the macros right there for my like full day of eating. But you know, I'm gonna get this meal in, wrap everything up, then head to bed, and you know, just really hope that my hamstring is okay. So I'm gonna wrap it up here, and I will see you guys in episode number 8.